One, two, three. Hi, my name is Will, and I want to talk to you real quick for maybe about 5 minutes about gay marriage. And it's an exhausting topic because people talk about it to exhaustion, and I'm exhausted too. But bear with me for 5 minutes, if you would, because there's something that people don't really seem to be talking about in regards to marriage, period. It seems to me that a big reason why people who are against gay marriage are against gay marriage is because they say it's against what God says in the Bible. It's against God's law. That God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and gave them marriage, made it between a man and a woman. So they take that reason, and then they take what the Bible says about homosexuality, and they put those reasons together, those two reasons together, to create one big sin, basically saying marriage is for men and women, God hates gays. So two gays getting married is against God. And fair enough. People can draw whatever conclusions they want. And again, fair enough. But the problem is when people want to use the Bible to sort of dictate morality, they tend to ignore big chunks of the Bible. And the Bible is great for morality. It says not to kill, not to murder, not to steal, not to break someone's heart. Those are great things to go off of, and we shouldn't do any of those things. But the Bible does say some interesting things about marriage between a man and a woman. Since we're all sick of listening about gay marriage, let's talk about straight marriage for just a second. Originally, when God created marriage was supposed to be forever. Not 5 years, not 10 years, not 40 years, and you move on. Forever. Until your husband or wife dies, you're married, you're stuck with them for your entire life. You're only free to marry again when your husband or wife dies, croaks, whatever. And until then, you're stuck with them. However, in Moses' day, people were already getting not fun with that law. And so they asked Moses, hey, Moses, are there any reasons why we can divorce our wives? Is there anything? And Moses said, well, God pretty much said marriage is forever. However, and this is a direct quote from Moses, he said, except because of your hard-heartedness, God created one stipulation that you can divorce your wife, and that's if she commits adultery. So, that's it. So, if they caught their wife running around with some sheep herder from the Philistines, whatever, they could divorce her. Conversely, if she caught him running after some maiden who's chasing goats, they can divorce her. She can divorce him. But that's it. Adultery. That's the only scriptural, godly sanctioned law for divorce. Nothing else. In fact, there are 5 scriptures starting in Matthew, going through Mark, into Luke, and into Hebrews that say, if you divorce for any other reason other than adultery, you're committing adultery yourself. Look at Matthew 19, verses 8 and 9, or look at Mark chapter 10, verses 11. Verse 11, not verses 11. And they talk about it. You marry someone else for any other reason than adultery because you divorced, you're an adulterer yourself. And if the person you marry marries you, which they would obviously, they're an adulterer too. So let me clarify that a little bit more easily. If you divorce your husband or your wife and they haven't cheated on you, you're cheating on them and you're an adulterer. And then if you go and get remarried, the person you remarry is an adulterer too. It doesn't matter if your husband ties you up and beats the shit out of you. Did he cheat on you? No? You can't divorce him. Did your wife burn your house down? Kill your children? Take all your money? She didn't? Or she did? She did. Did she cheat on you? No? Well, you can't divorce her. Because if you do, you're an adulterer yourself. So I bring all this up because I have to wonder if the people who are against gay marriage know that. And if any of them are divorced and are divorced for any other reason, then their spouse, their at one time significant other, cheated on them. Because if they didn't, they're an adulterer for getting a divorce. And if they remarry, and if they've remarried since then, the person they've married is an adulterer too. Doesn't matter if you fall out of love. It doesn't matter if you have your eat, pray, love moment and you decide you don't love your husband anymore. You're with him forever. Sorry dudes, sorry ladies, you're stuck. Again, using the Bible to dictate morality is great, but it needs to apply to everybody. And so, as you may or may not know, adultery is in the top 10 sins. It's one of the sins that God deems worthy of dying, worthy of killing you. You are worthy of death if you're an adulterer. Like being a thief, or a murderer, or a fornicator. He also says, or an adulterer. I believe he says, your lot shall be in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone. So, I would just like people who are remarried and against gay marriage, and they're remarried and have committed adultery, to examine themselves and examine those scriptures and explain how it's okay for you to be married. Because strictly speaking, it's not. And if we're going to use the Bible to dictate, again, laws in marriage, then the laws that you are using to apply to gay people, subsequent laws need to apply to you. Just something to consider. Not trying to piss anybody off, not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, not trying to make anybody angry. Just trying to make some people thoughtful and think about what they say and what they do and how they choose to use the Bible to dictate the morality of other people and the morality of themselves. If there's a double standard, it's probably not very fair, is it? That's all I got. Thanks.